What is going on, everybody? Back at it again with another YouTube video. And today we have some good news. We have some, just some stats to throw out at you for, all the bettors out there. But before I get into all of that, obviously you could tell I'll be talking about something Phillies related. And if you guys like Phillies, if you like Sixers, if you like Eagles, and if you like Flyers, I'm your guy. Hit that subscribe button, give it a like, check out a couple of my past videos, and, join the family. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers. We are at almost 550. I can't thank you guys enough for those of you that have already subscribed that have been with me throughout this entire quarantine. It's a very different experience. We still do not have sports at the moment, but we will have sports very soon, and you guys do not want to miss me reacting to live sporting events again, because it's going to be completely different than just hopping on here and talking about what we already know. It's going to be raw reaction videos, and I can't wait to get that out to you guys. So, hit that subscribe button, give it a like, and join the family, because we are grinding out here. But now to get into today's topic, the Phillies and JT Realmuto, the best catcher in baseball, are starting to agree on some contract negotiations. We're starting to see the works be put in to reassure Phillies fans that JT Realmuto will be a Philadelphia Philly for at least the next 4 years. Now, there have been rumors that they will sign for 4 years, 5 years, or 6 years, but one thing that I'm pretty sure of is that the deal will be worth around that 20 to 25 AAV, money per year kind of deal. And let's be honest here. He's the best catcher in baseball. He does deserve it. He's getting a little up there in age. He's 30. But here's my thing with JT. I think he's good enough in the field to where you could throw him in at first. Look, I'm not 100% agreeing with the universal DH, but if it works, I can see the universal DH be put into play in the National League very, very soon. We're testing it out this year, as we know, with the 60-game season. So it's going to be a very, interesting thing to look at. As of right now, I would think our DH would be Jay Bruce. But, down the line, if you sign JT for 6 years, he's 20. In 2021, he will turn 30. So that's 1 year into his contract already. You're looking that he's going to be around on the team until 35, 36 years old. He can be your DH. He's a good enough hitter. He's a good enough, base runner. And with older age, he's already kind of up there, but yet he still is the best catcher in baseball, in my opinion. But you got to look at it in different ways. You got to just put it in different perspectives and find the positive, and then look at the negatives later when they get to you. But right now, I'm looking at the positives. And the positives is you will sign JT Realmuto. You do not have to worry about any of your rivals like the New York Mets, like the Braves. Maybe because the Mets have been on the JT train. They're waiting for JT to not sign a contract to, enter free agency, to test the waters of free agency. And we can't have that happen, because there's going to be teams out there like the Mets that are going to throw out a $300 million contract just because of the name. And, I don't really blame him. He's the best catcher in baseball. But, you got to look at it and you say, Joe Mauer, who's probably the best catcher, since I've been alive, his highest AAV, his money per year, was only $23.5 million per year, and it was in his last year of his contract. You're not going to overpay for a catcher. You're not. It's just not going to happen. They're not everyday players. As much as JT does play for a catcher, he's not an everyday player. He's not. And, he has his rest days. And that's why you cannot pay a guy like JT Realmuto $300 million. You can do that with Bryce. He's an everyday player. He's only, he's an MVP. He was the number 1 overall pick. He's a multiple-time All-Star. Bryce Harper he has the records. It's Bryce Harper. He got money because of his name. He's going to bring him in ticket sales, he's a name. He's probably the most popular player, the most well-known player in baseball today. As crazy as that seems, I'm not saying he's the best, but look at it. Everybody knows who Bryce Harper is. I've met people that don't know who Mike Trout is. And it's just as simple as that. I don't know if it's because we're from Philly or, you just hear of a guy who was 16 years old. I mean, we've been talking about this kid. He's now 26 for 10 years now. Longer than that, like a decade and a half almost. We've been talking about Bryce Harper. He was on the ESPN magazine at 16. He's 26. That's 10 years he's been talked about in baseball. So you got to look at it like that. He's the better name. He's the better player to me, honestly. I think Bryce Harper's better than JT. But, there's just so much that goes into it. Again, 4 to 6 years, $20 to $26 million per year I would look at. But you have to make sure you do sign JT Realmuto. To me, JT is the difference between a championship team and a contending team and a playoff team. JT can get you big at bats. He can throw out a runner. He can make the tag. We've seen it before. And if the Phillies somehow this year make it deep into the playoffs and, we need that bat. We need that out. Well, JT calls great games. He hits very, very well for a catcher. For any player at that. And he's smart. He knows the game. So you need to lock up this man. You do. I'm sorry. I don't know why people would disagree with me on this, but I feel like you just have to give him the money that he deserves. He deserves this money. He's the best catcher in baseball. He deserves it. Now, we're going to switch the topic a little bit and talk about some Phillies win totals that Vegas and, New Jersey New Jersey betting points kind of put out. And, Vegas has us winning 31.5 games. Now, that is tied for third with the New York Mets, who are also at 31.5. The Marlins are at 24.5. The Braves are at 34.5. And the Nationals are at 33.5. Now, the Nationals, as we all know, just won the World Series. And, they're a very good team. They have very good pitchers. Same thing with the Mets. Braves, they're the Braves. They're the best team in the division. They've won the division the last 2 years. But here's the thing. There's only 60 games. As bad as a manager that Gabe Kapler was, Gabe Kapler still won more than 31.5 games in the last season in that 60 games. In 60 games last season, in the first 60 games last season, Gabe Kapler did it. He did it. He won more than 31 games. So you're telling me that Joe Girardi couldn't do that? I know there's a lot of, there's a lot of higher circumstances, and there's going to be a lot of pressure on these guys. If you lose 3 games in a row, you could be out. Honestly. Imagine, just say this. Imagine you're at 23 wins and, at the time, 18 losses. Well, if you lose 3 straight, you're 23-21. You have very little time to make that up. Every game matters. That's why I think this season's going to be fun. I really do. Now, to win the National League East, the Phillies are actually in 4th place with a plus 330. The Marlins are a plus 5,000. The Mets are a plus 300. The Nationals are a plus 240. And the Braves are a plus 200. Now, here's the thing. I think we're going to be better than the Mets this season. The Mets, not the Nats, the Mets. They don't have Syndergaard. And, Pete Alonso's a great player. And they have a couple other guys. Obviously, DeGrom is arguably the best pitcher in baseball. But I think we're better than the Mets. And we have a new manager and, Carlos Beltran for them. That was a whole thing because of the cheating scandal and with Houston. But I think we're going to be better than the Mets. I just do. We have a tough 60 games. 42 of the 60 games are against the Nationals, the Braves, the Mets, the Red Sox, the Rays, and the Yankees. The Yankees are arguably the best team in baseball. It's either them or the Dodgers. We play the NL East, obviously, but we also play the AL East, which is a very good division. You know, you have the up-and-coming Blue Jays. Don't count them out. The Orioles and the Marlins, they're going to be gimmies, but you need to take advantage. We didn't last year. We beat every other team. We owned every other team. We beat the Braves more times than they beat us. We beat the Nats more times than they beat us. We beat the Mets more times than they beat us. The only team that we didn't beat more times was the Marlins. We have to take advantage of bad teams. The Orioles and the Marlins, we should have at least 7 games on them. We should have 7 more wins than those two teams have on us. Because you're going to lose a couple games. Let's be honest here. But, you know, we have a tough 60 games. The NL East and the AL East are arguably the best 2 divisions in baseball. Most competitive anyways. They've always been that way. So with that being said, let me know your thoughts and opinions on JT Realmuto. Would you give him the contract? Would you wait a little bit? He's making $3.7 million this season. But then, you know, he has to get his money. Is it a priority? Does Klentak and does Middleton, do they have to sign JT Realmuto? Or not? And let me know if the Phillies will win over or under 31.5 games. Do they have a shot at the NL East? Let me know in the comment section down below. With that being said, thank you all so much for watching. Like, comment, and most importantly, subscribe. Join the 4for4 Philly fan family. And I'll see you next time. I'm out. Peace.